What's going on, guys? Ben here, Enos Tech, and today we're taking a look at two keyboards from the folks at Cooler Master by way of their MasterKeys L and their MasterKey S keyboards. Now, these are no frills, straight up hardcore mechanical gaming keyboards. They feature the Cherry MX switches, and the samples they've sent me both have brown switches in them. And they also feature the superior PBT keycaps, which have a bit nicer feel to them. They're a bit more durable, they're a bit more sturdy, and they should really stand the test of time. Now, one of the things we will instantly notice about this keyboard is not only does it not have any RGB lighting, it doesn't have any backlighting at all. Now, some of you may think, oh, well, that's no good, or why is that, this and that, and my guess is it's looking for performance over function, or gimmicks and features and stuff like that, if you will. Cooler Master have obviously wanted to give us a very well performing keyboard. This comes in a 10 keyless model as well as the full standard version. Again, it's got the PBT keycaps on it, which are great feel. I mean, they feel great when you're typing on them. And yeah, as you can see here, it also has a detachable USB cable. Small feature, one that I personally am very pleased to see. For my setup personally, I love to be able to unplug the keyboard itself, set it to the side, and then have the cable by itself to be able to route it behind my computer and stuff like that. Because as you can see behind me there, I don't have a whole lot of room for my normal computer, so it's a bit of a mess, and the cable just kind of gets thrown behind it, and it's nice to just be able to take the keyboard out and move it if need be. Now, these keyboards obviously will come in a number of different layouts, whether it's English or whatever your preferred region is in your layout is, as there are quite a few of them. And again, just to reiterate, this is Cooler Master must be going with performance here, because as you can see, it looks like a fairly standard keyboard, but obviously it's got the Cherry MX switches in it, which we know are tried and tested. One of the cool things as well, inside the box, Cooler Master have included a key puller, so you can pull the keycaps. And not only have they done that, for those of us who like a bit of gaming and a bit of different change, they have included some red keycaps as well. We've got, it looks like we've got QWRE and then WAST. So we got, looks like we've got QWER and WASD. So that should give us a good region up here in the top for our game and stuff. And then obviously this will help where there's no backlighting on it. If you are gaming in the dark or a bit darkish situation, you'll easily be able to see, boom, those are my gaming keyboard keys up there. That's my WASD for moving around, and I imagine this would especially be helpful in first-person shooter games, which I am a big fan of. And aside from that, we obviously have some function keys we can do here. You can set up things right from the keyboard. The anti-ghosting's there. It's got the macro set up, so you can hit the macro, set your macros in right from the keyboard itself. And it's also got the invaluable Windows lock key. Nobody wants to hit the Windows key during a game and have the start menu pop up, your game minimizes, and you die, and you pretty much lose. And it does get very frustrating. It used to happen to me a bit, not a lot, but every now and again it does happen, especially if you're messing about a bit. So it's nice to have a keyboard where you can just lock that and not have to worry about it. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to get both of these out of the box, put them side by side, and let's take a closer look at the Cooler Master MasterKeys L and MasterKeys S keyboards. Alright, so taking a bit of a closer look, as you can see on the L version, I've gone ahead and removed the keycap so we can get a look at the cherry brown switches. Now, they feature the black base, which in this case really doesn't matter, because as mentioned, there are no LEDs, so there's no light to shine through, so the clear casing wouldn't make any difference at all. Basically, we're looking for the standard Cherry MX switches, because we want that performance. We're not worried about the lighting and the features. We want that solid performance from our keys and our keyboard. As you can see on the S version, I've gone ahead and added the gaming keys, if you will, to it, just to give you an idea on what that looks like. Like I said, as this keyboard doesn't feature any backlighting of any sort, if you do game in a bit of a darker scenario, this will help you. Boom, that's right where I need to be without properly having to look at your keyboard. It's just a little recognition, and to be honest, I've noticed a lot of times that a lot of people just like having different keys for their gaming keys. Now, one thing I will mention, which I know is going to be hard to see here, is that these red keys aren't quite as durable and as thick here as the black keys. Now, that's not a problem because the black keys are the PBT keycaps, as even it says on the front of the box, the superb or superior PBT keycaps, and the red ones won't be used as much, and they're kind of just a nice little extra bonus that Cooler Master have gone ahead and thrown in for us. One of the small things I've liked to see on keyboards these days is the companies including their logos where the Windows keys are. Nobody really cares for the Windows logo. It's not to be horrible about it, just it is what it is, and I think it's a good way for companies to add a bit of minimalistic branding to their products without having to throw it in our faces. So as you can see here, the keyboards are very, very similar. Pretty much you've got the 10 key is about the only difference that you can see here, though in looking at them like this it is hard to see, but the S version, when you flip the feet up, it stands up a bit higher than the L version does. Another thing I noticed in turning the keyboards over, the S version will plug into here, the USB cable, and it has a bit of routing. Now, we don't have that on the L version. That's a bit of a weird design move to me. I thought they would have been a bit more similar. It's not an issue at all. It's just one of those small things I noticed. As you can see, we do have the flip-up feet here. There are some rubber pads here to stop it from slipping on your desk, should you need them. And yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the USB cable. Obviously is detachable from both keyboards, but it's just a bit weird that the S has a bit more cable management for it than the L version does, as the L version will just plug in to the top there. It is nice to see that the USB is off to one side on the right, for me personally, because I like to have my keyboard right in front of my monitor, and then I route the cable around to the right hand side, so that is superb for me. But if this is not how you have your setup, it will be one of those things that you will want to keep in mind. As for the Cherry MX Brown switches, as you can hear, they do make a bit of a dull noise, but they're not overly loud. They are good for typing and gaming combined, so it's one of those, they're good for a little bit of everything, and like I said, they're not too loud. So if you're not familiar with switches, they are a good place to start off with. I would say is a brown switch, or maybe even a red switch, depending on what you have access to. So again, just touching base on the design, as you can see, very minimalistic. The keyboards are no bigger than they need to be. As for the S, we've got our caps lock, scroll lock, and our lights there. On the L version with the num lock here, we've got them up in the top right. The only thing I would have personally liked to see is maybe on the L version is an extra volume roller, or even just buttons up there. I'm not a big fan of having to hit function and then hit the volume up keys or whatever, or having to change it through the computer. I really just don't like that. Like, as you can see on this one, you have to hit function and page up. Not a big deal, but I am a fan of just having a single button for the volume. And while I won't really hold that against the MasterKeys L or S, it's just one of those things I wanted to touch base on. So as you can see, good performing keyboards. I've used them for a while. They both, obviously, Cherry MX Browns. They stand the test of time. There's nothing wrong with them at all. I do like them. They're great keyboards. They perform well. They do what they need to do without having silly features and gimmicks. So kudos to Cooler Master for that. At the moment, they come in around 75 to 85 pounds respectively, depending on where you shop and which model you want. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and give them a recommended award here at Enos Tech. So big thanks to Cooler Master for having a plain, non-gimmicky, non-crazy keyboard. It's actually been a while since I've seen something like this, and it's just a great change of pace from the RGB LED rave lighting madness that we've got going on at the moment. So again, big shout out to Cooler Master for sending these in, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and please stay tuned in the future for more content.